Hello, hello everyone. Welcome to another episode of your weekly dose of Terraform. My name is still the same, Anton Babenko, and I'm gonna to talk about Terraform AWS modules today because this is one of the things which many people are using, and I asked what kind of things people are interested, and this was one of the most voted topic. So people want to see how different things are fixed inside of Terraform AWS modules. And here we go. So let's start with this one. So the sponsor of this episode is again M0. For those who don't know what they do, well, they allow you to run Terraform as well as Terragran in automation, and you can go to m0.com/ym0, and then you can read about some advantages there. I think it's a pretty honest summary here where they say what is M0 doing and how other vendors are doing it. You can see how things are different, and you can click quick start and open free account and see it yourself. This is what I want to say and to highlight. This is the only platform where Terragrant is taken into account. If you know any other platform, please let me know. I'm also interested in actually knowing how other people manage or how other people execute Terragrant in the pipeline. I know different options, but I want to know what exactly is your experience with those options. So go to the website if you want to know more. Well, another thing which was last week, I had Terraform AWS pricing module Hacken Edition, and as you probably understand, it was maybe a break time for some of you, so you couldn't watch how things were developed. I have to say that it was the longest episode which I have ever recorded. It was 3 hours. And what is really funny is that by the end of this episode, there was only me, and then another friend of mine joined on the very last minute. So I know that it's very long and you don't want to know about all of this, but if you want to see what exactly I have been working on, you can click through and you can figure out what was happening. From a external point of view, I want to say that it's approximately 60, maybe 70% done. It's working, but I want to do a little bit more features there. And I actually want to push it to some URL or some repository or registry. So next week, what will happen is that Hosrov, who is lead developer of Terraform docs, will join me, and we will have a discussion about his projects, about what exactly he is working on, what is Terraform docs, how you can use Terraform docs, how you can contribute, and so on. So join us next week at the same time. Well, not actually at the same time, because I think it will be about 3-4 hours. Let me check my calendar. Yeah, it will be not midday my time, but 4 hours later. So it should be better for people who are on West Coast on US. He is from Toronto, Canada himself. Okay, what else I want to say? Yeah, and last thing related to HashiTalks. I think I mentioned this a couple times already during my streams, but for those who have not yet submitted the proposal, you can still do so if you go to this URL events.hashicorp.com/hashitalks 2021, and you can click submit to the CFP, and then this form opens, and you just have to specify what exactly your talk is going to be about, and elaborate on some abstract. So that's pretty much it. Okay. So let's continue to fixing issues. this time I have prepared a few issues and I have actually gone through some of these issues. So we will not be going back and forth and trying to figure out which one to work, because I have already kind of did this for you. So the first one, the thing which I'm a little bit afraid that I will forget to do is again switching between windows, and if I accidentally share wrong window, please let me know, because it's just unacceptable and I don't know any better ways to do. So let's start with this simple thing one. It's inside of Route 53, where the task was to be able to add weighted routing policy. Well, weighted routing policy is this one. So in fact, it's very straightforward. We just have to add this field here, and this has been done already. So I will just go to the code, and where is this code? Here is it. Okay, well, very good timing, but no need to update my plugins right now. So this was about Route 53, and it was pull request number 21. So let's go to Route 53 and git pull. I will try to increase font as well, because maybe it's better now. Okay, and GitHub pull request 21. Cool. So in this one, I need to see what exactly the weighted routing policy. And the point here is that it's only needed when it is provided. Then we specify it. And there are a few things here. One is this one, which is weight, which is required. And let me go to documentation. As you can see, I don't have documentation here, so I have to go to this site and then somehow look for what I need. I still have no clue why this search. Hello, Tanya. I still have no clue why this search works so strangely. I search for one resource and I see a lot of different things here. Well, and then here I have weight, which is optional, and what else? Well, weight in routing policy is weight. That's pretty much it, right? Okay, and another thing is set identifier. Right, so what was this issue about in details? So fine, adding weighted routing policy, quite easy, this is done. What I commented some time ago actually was related to set identifier. Well, yeah, exactly. So set identifier is there, and it should be there, but for some reason set identifier. So set identifier, unique identifier to differentiate records with routing policies from one another. Well, that's kind of important because it's required if using one of routing policy. So if it is required, how this code can even work? Well, we can verify how it's working, and just let's put this code somewhere here. So where can I put it? Well, it should be part of. Well, yeah, it is a little bit cold here, but that's okay. It's Norway, we have a lot of snow, so which is kind of good. Okay, so here it's called set identifier, and it's null. Well, that's true. Okay, so I added at least set identifier here, and if I go to examples, again, remember that all examples in all Terraform AWS modules are always executable. There are no exceptions to this. I mean, if there are exceptions, then something is wrong. And I always use pretty much a real domain name. So, well, not domain name, but zone. So zone here is created, so this zone can be used here as well. I don't want to spam anyone who owns this domain, even if it doesn't exist. So let's see, set identifier. So what if I specify set identifier as test? Okay, comma is not needed. And what else? Well, as I said, it should be a little bit realistic, or at least it should be example com, which is allowed for all of these things. So this is one, and let's make another one, which is going to be test2, 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 weight 90, okay, let's put it 90. Okay, like this. Yeah, okay, good. So now if I go to examples, complete, and I want to, so what I want to do, I want to create these records first. Terraform init, well, I need to just delete Terraform because it most likely it's a little bit old, because I did some experiments recently here. Terraform init. So the pull request overall is very simple, but all I wanted to do is just to do a little bit more than was required. So adding weighted routing policy is good, but set identifier is also required, and it's also very easy to add. So please add it. Okay, so now let's add cache behavior. Of course it's wrong, because that's another thing which I updated recently. It's called, well, so recently, just yesterday. I think it's called default cache behavior now. Let's try. So the problem there was actually related to sorting of maps. Viewer protocol policy, what is it? Viewer protocol policy. What? Well, how did it work before? Ah, right, that's just another type, I guess. So inside of this one, again, go to examples and see how it was supposed to be used. Right, so default cache behavior does not have key, because now it's already there. Okay, let's put it like this. Cool. So let's make everything now and see what happens. Well, I don't have to make CloudFront just for this purpose, but okay, if it's already done. So let me go to browser and see how things are actually created. Because Route 53 console is a little bit special. Sometimes you have very good understanding just by looking into console and see what you have created. Well, in this case it's quite straightforward, but just want to be safe. So I go to many of my test domains, and which one is it? Well, which one was it? It was inside of zone 0. 0 is the main one, this one. So here should be, right? Yeah, it says creating. Still creating. Mm. Mm. Well, I think I get the point. What is set identifier is. So if I go to the source code, well, let me go back to, it has just finished the creation, so I should go to this one, right? To this one, and here I should see two CNames. Right. So okay, now I get the point. So the thing is that identifier which I specified here, where is it used? Here is it, right? It says record ID, unique description that differentiates this record from other with the same name and type. Well, that's actually quite tricky. If I look into the source code now, I see that, so what I want to do, a weighted routing policy means that I want to have two records, but I mean test.something point to this one of type of CName, but they have different test identifier as like test main, or okay, not main, let's call it primary, and second one is test secondary. Okay, so this one get 10% and this one get 90%. This is how I expect it to be, and now we will see an error because the ID of this record now internally consists of test plus type, which is the same, test and test here. So we need to include set identifier inside of this record. And the way how I do this is actually inside of, well, where is this? Inside of module records, here is it. Okay, so we use name and we use type, and we also need to use set identifier. So let's make him code ugly, right? So we do this by compact. Is it compact? No, it's not compact. It's actually, yes, it is compact. It's compact of this list. Okay, it's compact of this one, comma. Well, so what I want to do is that this one is first element, and the second element here is gonna to be empty in some cases, which is called rs set well, it's actually a lookup again, set identifier empty, and it should be a lookup. Okay, and compact, and that's it, and one more this. So what I want this to do is that I use this one for backward compatibility because this was used before, and set identifier is new field which now can be empty, and this all has to be connected or joined with space. Well, maybe I need to put some more bracket like this. Okay, let's try. Sometimes I want to write these expressions into several lines, but sometimes I'm just a bit lazy to do this. And what is even better is that I can give hints to Terraform by including it into brackets. But here we go. So now I include this identifier inside of individual records. That's good. And this one is only for backward compatibility. Otherwise, I wouldn't put it here. I would put it all into one list. Okay. Compact. Yeah, it should be fine. So here we're gonna to remove it, and then we're gonna to add new one. Yeah. So we're gonna to remove and then add similar record. So let's see. Now I apply it. It takes some time. Meanwhile, I can go to the browser and see how it looked. It's still creating, which is good sign. Let's see. Still creating. So creation complete. What it means? So here we had two records pointing to different things, and now we have two records with the same name, same weighted, pointing to different things. That's pretty much what I expected. So as you can see, the solution is not very simple, and I didn't knew about this when I did code review for this pull request myself. So I didn't know about set identifier to be used here. I just forgot. Okay, so here we go. What else can we do? If we look into the source code here, we expect weight to be here, and what if we don't specify identifier here, but specify it for another record? So what I expect to happen is that one record will be removed, right? Only one will be removed or actually updated. No, it will be removed because key has changed. Okay, so it says destroy, and the one will be created but without identifier. So let's see how I can make it without identifier. Well, seems to be working fine. If it is working fine, then set identifier is actually optional, while the documentation said it was required. Let me see documentation one more time. So here set identifier, it says optional but required if using. Well, it's probably not so much required. It's like soft required, right? No, it's actually required. Right. Okay. Cool. So that's what I wanted to see. So it failed because it is wait and routing policy. Okay, that's pretty good to know. So set identifier here. Good. So yeah, let's proceed with this pull request and merge it and do whatever is necessary. I think it's now working as expected. So what else I can do here? Well, yeah, we are talking about Terraform log.hcl, which is now ignored. Good. This is one addition which I have to add in all modules. Okay, so git add. Cool. Now let's run some things. Yeah, that's pretty new. Cool, my formatter works. Actually, it was quite interesting change recently. Terraform FMT applied some reformatting to some of places. So I was not really expecting to have so many changes, but well, it has changed. Zones I don't need, this one I don't need. Okay, so git add and git commit. What I did here, fixed examples and set identifier. Repository not found. Well, that's a little bit sad. Well, why it was not found? Oh, a little bit too much. Git config nash1.git. Where is it even? Yeah, okay, that's pretty interesting. Well, that's so strange sometimes. Okay, so it means that person has opened this repository, this pull request, and then he deleted the whole repository. Really cool. Okay, well, there is no other way than I just open a new or make a new branch and git check out what I'm gonna to call it. Well, pretty much the same. Pretty much the same, but it should be unique. So git push origin added. Okay. Create. So let's see what this pull request looks like. Well, this pull request looks exactly as expected, but a couple things here to look into. Yeah, cool. Everything was updated as it should. And what is this? It's going to be called feature. Weighted routing policy, and it's based on 21. Well, based on 21. And what else? It close 16. That's where things started to be reported. Okay, squash. So that's it with this one, and so here I just git release. Okay, so this one is solved, and it was pretty straightforward. So let's move on to next one. This one was let's see what is the next one. Right, are you guys excited with some fun things which I was working? Can somebody say yes or no? Because if you're excited, then I will show you something. If not, then we'll continue to Terraform AWS modules. No, yes. Okay, then we continue, then I will not show you some really cool things. Okay, let's see. The next one is this one. Well, what is this about? I have no clue what is this about, but let's see. Don't create random password resource if password is supplied. Well, sounds like common sense to me, but then I said that it was fixed. Interesting, and I got some dislike. Someone doesn't like that I close this issue. Well, okay, I will not close more issues. Okay, so what exactly is this about? Let's see. Let's see where I can start from. So I say version 3 of RDS Aurora. So here is it. Inside of RDS Aurora, there is, well, which version is it even? Hello? Yeah, okay, version 3 is the latest one, which was released, well, 11 days ago. So what I have here, right, so of course random password should not be created if it is not in use, and the way it is identifying whether it's used, if password was provided and primary cluster, then use this password, right? Is this the only place where it is used? Apparently yes. Okay, so then I have to just expand this expression to say that if password equals space and is primary cluster and create cluster, then create this resource. Sounds pretty easy, right? That's it. Well, that was simple, but it's not enough. Okay, here is no random password, no. Okay, so random password is not used anywhere, right? Let me Google for, not Google, but let me search in the code base for this phrase, random password. Random password is used here, and that's it. Okay, so how I can verify this now is that I need to find some database here, and I just need to call, well, which one is the fastest one? Every time I forget about it. Is it MySQL or is it Postgres? I mean, which example is the fastest? Let's start with this one. I probably run it, here, because here I can see Terraform log file. So this one is very fast. Okay, let's see. I need to provide master password. Here, where is it? Where to put password? Somewhere, username. Is there a username? No, because it's used here. Okay. Well, that's actually quite interesting. I'm not big expert of Aurora, so if I use IAM database authentication enabled, then should I still provide password? Well, we will find out. So the way to do this is to use master well, not master, but password. Password, my new, I know that it has to be special because Oracle, for example, has few requirements on password lengths and password complexity, as well as MS SQL. Okay, so here is it. So now let's go to Aurora. Let's do git pull. Well, let's do git stash. Let's do git pull. Let's do git stash apply. I'm just lazy to copy one line. Okay, so here we go. We go to examples, MySQL, and then Terraform. By the way, recently I found out, or not found out, but I installed autocomplete. So if you want to see when you write Terraform and then you have no clue what kind of commands are available, you can do this by running Terraform dash install dash autocomplete. So once you run it and then you restart your shell, you will see it happens. That's amazing. Okay, so Terraform init. I don't know why I did it, but anyway. So now Terraform apply. So what I expect to see no password inside of my plan. So password, no, what is it? Random ID is used for snapshot identifier. Okay, but what about random? What was the name of it? Random password. Well, there is no random password in this list because there is password, master password sensitive value. That's pretty awesome. Okay, so this seems to be planning well. So now let's put, if I remove this line and if I plan it again, I should see a random. Well, there was 10 resources, now it should be 11. Let's see, 11. Cool. So random password. Okay, and what about snapshot identifier? Because I think this will be another question from somebody, why snapshot identifier is created if I don't care about it. It says skip final snapshot equal true, right? So I personally don't expect snapshot to be to have a name, but let's see. So snapshot identifier. Let's see. No, it's not here. Okay, snapshot identifier is always created. Why it is always created? Final snapshot identifier is gonna to be always used. Well, that's a little bit wrong here. Skip final snapshot, for example, is true, then it means we don't care about which final snapshot identifier we specify because we want to skip it. Also, if I'm not mistaken, let me see, it's kind of not related to the point, but where was it? It was, I think it was here, somewhere here in release notes, which were released yesterday or this night, I don't remember. There was something about final snapshot, right? Correctly validate final snapshot identifier argument at plan time. I guess it is somehow related to this thing, so that when we don't need snapshot, we don't care about it, right? And this is for this resource. Well, it has been released just today. And the thing is that if this feature became available just today, then I cannot put it into modules, because not everyone will be able to update just immediately. So that's why it's a little bit strange. Feature is there, it is fixed, it has some validation rules. Well, it's probably not the same. It's just about name and how it has to be matching certain. The value must begin with letter, only contain alphanumeric. Well, it's too complicated. Anyway, it's not related to the point. But yeah, that's what I wanted. Must be provided if skip snapshot is set to false. Skip final snapshot is set to false. Yeah, right. Okay, anyway, let's move on with this issue about just password. So for the password, this fix seems to be working as I expect. So password is specified. Then we don't create password. Cool. And by the way, there is even fix for this already by someone? Because if there is fix, then I would rather use it. No, this is only issue. I think this could be fixed by PR. Well, this is closed. This is closed. Anyway, it's not a problem to make such a small PR myself. Git check out. What is it? Create. No, what is it? Random password. Random password resource. And by the way, is it backward compatible thing? Well, and that's the thing. I still have no clue what does backward compatibility means after so many years working. So what this pull request will do, we will delete this resource. Well, but this resource is never used for anything real. It's not exposed outside. It's not used as any argument to any other resource. So I guess it is backward compatible. But well, yeah, we are not exposing it, so it's just refactoring. Let's move on. Git commit fix create random password only when necessary. Hopefully I write necessary correctly. So yeah, that's one thing, one line. Random. Okay. So what this will close 171. No, this will not close, this will actually fix. It's already closed. Fixes 171. Let's see, that's amazing. Squash. Okay, so yeah, git checkout master. Mm. Okay, so let's put it as done. Mm. Okay, so let's move on to the next one. And I will ask again, does anyone want to see what cool stuff I'm working on sometimes? Well, I don't work on it so much, but it's still amazing, I think. So, no replies. Okay, let's move on then to the next issue. So the next issue is again in this repository, 177. Well, yeah, that's actually quite an interesting issue. So a few people, and I think more and more people, are starting to applying the same modules to work with China or with GovCloud. Absolutely. So Gabriel is the only person who wants to know what school I have been working with. Well, here is it. This is a diagram of AWS infrastructure generated from Terraform code. So this stuff has been generated without without talking to AWS account, just by analyzing Terraform code. Some of these things has some metadata which is like in progress, and that's pretty much it. The plans for this one is to make it much more complete and embed it into some other things which I'm working with. So yeah, I think it's amazing, because many people want to know what exactly this code does without executing it, what kind of resources are created, how it's connected, and so on. So you can do this like this. That's it. So let's move on to this issue. So yeah, AWS China as well as GovCloud has been on a rise. So I want to make this happen as well. So actually, it's quite big, right? Okay. Well, I just showed my run window and explained it. So one more time. Here is the stuff which I was working on. So again, sorry that I didn't share the right window, but this diagram has been generated from parsing Terraform code, not your AWS resources, but real TF files. And this is a very early phase, and there are a lot of limitations and very few features, and I think that's actually on purpose. But the point is that many people want to just give a bunch of Terraform files and see how they look like, what kind of dependencies and what kind of resources are going to be created, and so on. So yeah, that's the main thing here. You can put some metadata, which currently is just fake in most places, but yeah, this stuff is automatically generated. That's, I think, is a key point here. I don't want people to think twice and kind of write codes and then update diagrams, or do it in any other way. So yeah, that's how it is. Let's move on to this one. So it is again RDS Aurora, and RDS Aurora, where is it? So the issue number is 177. 177. GraphQL error. What? Could not resolve pull request with number 177. Oh, right, because this is an issue. This is not pull request. Well, it's pretty interesting to see GraphQL error, from this command. But yeah, GraphQL is heavily used inside of GitHub API version 4, I guess. So it's just an issue, which means that no one has created code for it, right? Yeah. Okay, so 177 is just an issue. So let's write some code for this one. So first of all, let's see where was this used. It was, what is it, AWS underscore, no, AWS column. Well, generate Terraform code from the diagram, Gabriel. I have to tell you that this is quite straightforward and many people are doing it. What's the name of it? I know the name of the guy who is doing it. Chafik, I think his name. Let me show you some brain board, I guess. Brain board. Yeah. So this is a project which he has been showing to people on LinkedIn at least. Yeah, this guy Chafik or Shafik, I don't know. Sorry. So yeah, you draw all of this stuff and then you click somewhere and then you have Terraform code created for you, which is, well, it looks like this: Terraform file generated. That's one of 20 projects who's doing similar. One project which I was working on, you may have seen it before. I did it pretty long time ago already, more than 1 or 2 years actually. So here is it. If I go to this diagram, well, that's not the right project. If I go to a bunch of resources, well, that's maybe not a little bit simple to understand, but if I go to, well, this is too simple to understand. Let's put it into this one. No, where was it? It was I don't, well, this is too simple, but anyway, the point is that you have your diagram here. You have created everything what you wanted. You can do it in 3D or in 2D, and then you click export, and then you click Terraform code export, and then you say that you don't mind that this nice drawing will be exported and will be sent to someone else. You click generate, and then this zip archive is created, and you can download it, extract it, and I can just show you the source code of this zip archive is literally as here. So from this diagram you have this content. This content is automatically generated, and a lot of information from diagram has been already processed. So for example, you can see that your dependencies, like for example to create an auto-scaling group, has been automatically generated, and a bunch of dependencies are mentioned here, and all of this is work in Terragrant project. I know that Terraform and Terragrant, they're pretty different in this sense, but for me, working with Terragrant was way easier and much more predictable. And this code is actually 100% executable out of the box. Well, maybe not now because I pushed it 11 months ago. Actually, yeah, I talked about it at Hashi Talks. I don't know if there is link to Hashi Talks, but yeah, you can just check this source code and you can see how it works. And this stuff is absolutely free, and few people are using it on daily basis to generate different things. One of friend of mine, what is Genaker? Yeah, he is doing it for Magenta. So he drew this diagram. As you can see, a lot of different complicated things here, and then he click generate, and then he got this stuff generated for him with a bunch of different code, different modules, and so on. And yeah, this stuff is quite popular. It's already a little bit outdated, but I'm sure that he has received pretty good starting point for that. So yeah, this stuff is absolutely not new. What is pretty new, and I don't know any project who is doing it, as I showed on this diagram, from Terraform code into dynamic images and schemas like this. Yeah, so that's it. Okay, let's move on with this feature because it was a little bit too much about different things not related to Terraform AWS modules, but I'm always glad to show stuff which I have been involved or which I have been working on. So let's see. This pull request is about which file is it even? Well, he wants to have control of Amazon. Hey, you're welcome, Gabriel. So this file was about Amazon RDS enhanced monitoring something. Cool. Let's see. Yeah, indeed. So policy IRN is hard-coded here, and what it means. Well, the simple thing here is that when somebody wants to make a role, he can just specify policy IRN completely. So if I, let's say, replace it with var RDS enhanced monitoring policy IRN with this value, for example, then person inside of China should be able to just provide correct value. While for other things, like for RDS module, this has been solved already, and let's see how it has been solved there. So I probably parameterized just partition there. Right, so parameterizing partition is also, yeah, that's probably the easiest way. The reason why you may want to provide complete policy IRN instead of just chunk of it is that AWS is different in different regions. And if in China they suddenly call this IRN differently, it may not be enough that you just allow parameterization of this one. But, well, I agree that this thing here is simple enough, and I will make it just like this. So here is no code fixed for this, so no pull request related, I mean. So I will just take this one. So I am policy service role, yeah, good. Okay. So here we go. I am partition inside of this one. Monitoring role IRN. So somewhere here it belongs. So I am partitioned to use when generating IRNs for most regions. This can be left default. China, GovCloud, use different partitions. Pretty good explanation. Okay. So what else? Yeah, that's it. Okay, so now git checkout -b use im partition oh my god, I hate it so much. Thanks a lot. Well, yeah, so I will show what exactly I did. I just allowed parameterization of one section instead of the whole value. What this is going to do, it's going to be something like added possibility to specify partition used in IAM role policy attachment. That's pretty good. Pretty long. I like when it's long, when it's people have to read about it, think about it. Cool. So Terraform docs updated. Okay, git push origin use set. Okay. Okay, so let's see what exactly is here. Well, that's pretty much what I expected. So 3 places, IAM partition optional with default value. Good. Sometimes I put fix here, sometimes I put feature. I have no clue what is what. Well, fix. Well, is it fix? Yeah, it is fix for China at least. Git release. Okay, so let's leave an awesome comment that this has been fixed. Not in this one, but here. Please use which has been just released. And what was it? It was pull request number 182. 182 fixed in. Okay, so that's it. Okay, I think let me see. Yeah, we have time for one more issue in the same place. What is this one? Hopefully it's not the big one. It was over a year ago. Well, yeah, the thing is that few people couldn't figure out how to deal with serverless Postgres example. Honestly, I have no clue myself because I have not been using Postgres serverless. But luckily, some people updated examples and they put some description here and there. So I expect that I just check out this source code and I run it and it works. Right? This is a good example. Well, there are so sometimes strange things which people write. So I really not sure if I will just check out it and it will somehow work. So let's give it a try. It's pull request 95 guhupuru 95. Okay, well, this is a little bit old pull request. Well, it's not so old, it's just less than 2 weeks, but I have to click update because master branch has been already changed, so I do git pull, or actually merge master into this pull request. Okay, now git pull. I got a lot of new things here. Why did I get so many of them? Interesting. Well, it's a lot of changes, a lot of things here. Why? Oh, right, okay, random password is here. That's what we fixed earlier. Okay, so let's see one more time what is the issue. And the issue which people complained, as far as I understand, incorrect documentation, right? Right. Fix incorrect documentation, issue 94 for Aurora serverless Postgres. I have updated the documentation and also added a note on how to use it for Aurora serverless MySQL. Okay, and 9 people said that it's good. Cool. Sorry, today is 21. Well, I thought it's like 2 weeks ago, but it's actually 1 year and 2 weeks. Cool. So yeah, now it's time to fix it. Well, I was actually surprised, like, why I didn't see this issue and so many comments and so many discussions here during the last 2 weeks. Now it makes sense. Well, it makes sense that there are a lot of people talking about it now. So, incorrect documentation issue was this one. Incorrect example. The current serverless example for Postgres does not work. Aurora 5.6, which is for serverless MySQL. Instead, it should be using Aurora Postgres, which can be found. Yes, I think I understand what this person is talking about. Let's see. So here we are, AWS RDS example, Aurora, serverless, I mean. Here we are. So this example is for RDS, Aurora, Terraform. Serverless example. So serverless Postgres. Let's see. Serverless Postgres cluster. Okay, so which cluster is it? Here. Postgres. Well, I'm not sure I understand. There was an example which was designed to work for MySQL. Now this person has open pull request which says that well, according to the code change, as I can see, is is replacing what we had for MySQL. He replaced it with Postgres. Well, that's not really the fix. I want to have two examples, one for serverless MySQL and serverless Postgres. But anyway, serverless Postgres, and that's what he used here. So I refer to this example. For MySQL, some minor modification will need to be made to the engine. To the engine. Is it engine? To the engine. And the parameter group family type. Parameter group family type. Well. Okay, so nevertheless, let's try to make it work for Postgres first. Okay. So what we have here. Well, why? Okay, it's quite easy to combine these two examples into one and just leave it like this. I don't know why there has to be some description like this even. Okay, so engine serverless, engine mode. Okay, so engine. So here we are. I'll just add Postgres. And this one, PostgreSQL, and this is MySQL. Okay. So the next one is this parameter group for PostgreSQL, and this one is MySQL. Oh my god, SQL. Cool. So that's pretty much it. Now let's add these two resources here somewhere and say that this is MySQL and this one is GraphQL. That's it. Yeah, that's it. Okay. So I think this is much easier to understand. So you just uncomment the section which you want, and here you are. Well, what was the content of this file before? Well, there was no content. Okay, so usage uncomment blocks marked with SQL or MySQL inside of that's it. Usage of that's it. I sometimes like long examples, but sometimes they are a little bit too verbose. Uncomment block marked with yeah, that's pretty much it. Okay, so now let's see what is going on here. Well, there is not much here, not much in versions, in variables, I mean. So now let's just go to examples, serverless, and apply it. Well, Aurora. Yeah, put it just Aurora. So I think this is going to be the last issue which I fix today. So if you have other things which you want to ask, please let me know. 256 is not a valid capacity unit value. That's exactly the thing which I want people to investigate and help and do something. I mean, scaling configuration is probably supported inside of Terraform for serverless Aurora, but as far as I remember, max capacity is a little bit different. So the value is something like 0 or -1 to specify that you want to have auto scaling. So let's see. While it's doing its job, I can go to scaling configuration. Right. Only valid when engine mode is set to serverless. Okay, so it's actually made for that one. So let's see. Okay, it's RDS cluster. So it is RDS cluster. Where is RDS cluster? Here is it. And the value which I want to see is scaling configuration. Scaling configuration is only valid for serverless. Max capacity 256. What? That's what I had, right? .256 capacity unit value. Hmm. 256 maximum capacity must be greater, so default to 16. So why it didn't like from 2 to 256? Interesting. Okay, what if I just now try to set it to something smaller, let's say to 16? Maybe a database which I'm using is not supported. I mean, it doesn't support this capacity. Okay. Anyway, let's see. If I have, so what I want to see now is that if I specify minimum from 2 to 16. What I need to do, what is engine version? This is some things which I remember I have to Google pretty often. Let's see. Actually, it's quite interesting that okay, now it has created successfully. So let me see. So first, let's see if I can fix min and max just by putting it much lower, from 2 to 16, because maybe Postgres is not working like this. What? Engine version to 12. Well, can I put something like null here? So the thing is that I first created this what? Well, first I created this in this instance with 10.7, right? Yes, with 10.7, and yeah, and then it somehow was able to upgrade to 10.12, and now it says like, hey, I want to downgrade to 10.7. No, just skip engine version and use latest one. If this is not gonna to work, then I can put just major version. So instead of 10.7, I can put 10. This means that, yeah, this was good enough. So null, serverless null. That's the way to go. 10.7 is too restrictive. I can put it actually all the way down. Let's say 10.7 to 10.7 to just 10. All of these are valid options. But null is something what I like here, because I have no control of serverless anyway, so use whatever version is available. And I'm glad that AWS will handle this for me. Cool. So what if I try to run now? Hello, Maxim. Yeah, cool. Okay, so the point here is that, yeah, that's what I wanted to see. Would it work on creating? That's exactly the thing which I want to see. And also, I don't understand why these options were not taken into account. Like, maybe it's not possible to change them after creation. Let's see. No, this code looks fine. Yeah, I don't know. Anyway, let's see. If I now do destroy of all of this, and let's say if I just destroy it and see what happens. So engine version is something special. It had a lot of interesting challenges of its own, because AWS will update version by itself, plus you have something declared in your configuration code, and that's something what I think well, I don't know if it was in this resource or if it was in, yeah, it was actually here. So this is a solution to ignore this version. So that's why when we create, what do we create? We create RDS cluster. right? So RDS cluster has engine version, so it was respected. But cluster instances, I guess this is something what we have not created. Yeah. Mm. Right, so when creating normal RDS Aurora, then AWS will handle updating of engine versions, and then it will not take into account versions which you tell in the code after creation, which is okay for some cases, but I often miss full control over, let's say, all infrastructure which I declared. Yeah, replica count 1, but this is only, I guess it is not related to serverless, right? So replica count is, how much is it? Is 1 if replica scale enabled. Yeah, exactly. So if it is for serverless, then this block is not executed. That's what I'm saying. So then cluster instance is not created. It's only creating this one. Try? No, I don't want to try. No, wait. Let's see. First I want to delete it and try to create it. And then I will see if it is actually doing what it's supposed to be doing. I'm just trying to read this code and see that replica count here. No, where is it? All of this is, yeah, here. So cluster instance is not even created here. Cool, so destroyed, right? And I can check my code. Okay, so what I want to do now, if I can create it with version to null, and I probably will be able to do, because anyway, as I said, we don't control many things inside of serverless Aurora, so why it shouldn't work, I don't know. So here we are, it's doing something. Still creating. For how long time it will create? Okay, so let's see. I think this is going to be the last issue for today. Overall, there were 4 issues fixed, which is pretty decent result. Yesterday I fixed about 10 more, I guess, because yeah, many people asked different things and it just got piled in my inbox, so then I decided to work on it. Let's see. Well, while it's working, I can actually go to Chrome and I can see it inside. So here is nothing, and then here Aurora. So which region was it? I think US East 1. Okay, so here we are. It's gonna to be created soon. It's called Aurora. Why there are so many subnets? Interesting, but okay. Not much to see here still. Serverless database capacity. Cool. So it's still creating. It's creating add region. No, we are not quite there yet. Support for global tables in Aurora is not something what I have enough understanding yet, and I don't know how it will be easy to support. So that's for later. So yeah, here I can see from 2 to 16. That's what I specified. Yeah, and it was successfully created. So that's pretty much it. Okay, so let's commit this code and let's git commit. Well, if it says ignored in serverless, why to put it here even, as well as this one? Anyway, for now it's good. I think it's it can be fixed later, and there are so many things like this in many modules, so that once I finish them, I discover so many things which can be improved, and I just don't have time for all of this. But it doesn't mean that if you guys find something what you think is critical, or maybe some of you want to help me with fixing some of these issues and really take more ownership of maintaining all of this stuff, because it's just a lot of work. And yeah, just sometimes too complicated to know details about all of this. Like serverless, for example, in Aurora. I have no clue about different edge cases, but sometimes when I need to find this, let's say, engine version, how to write it, I have to Google it and I have to go to documentation. What's even more interesting is that engine version, when it was specified for, let's say, Postgres or for MySQL, in some of examples, I used one version. And then recently I discovered that this version is not actually supported anymore, which means that examples are not valid anymore, which is quite interesting, right? So when I created these examples 2 years ago or 3 years ago, it was working fine, but not anymore. Anyway, so here we are, a bunch of things fixed. It seems to work. I will delete it soon. Now I just go to, now I just go here and I merge it. And I say that this is fixed. It's primarily docs. Fix serverless MySQL, Postgres examples. Okay, and if I go to the code, git release, and here we are. Another another fix. Here we are, finally merged. I think I'm more excited than anyone else. Okay, so that's it for today, and as I said, next week I will have GitHub I will have a core developer of Terraform docs, Hosrov, to talk about Terraform docs, and it will be it will be interesting discussion because I can see a lot of work he's doing related to Terraform docs, like plugin SDK and so on. And actually, he has moved this to separate organization where he and Martin are now working on this stuff, and I can see that they're working on GitHub Actions as well as a bunch of other things, a lot of other things, which is pretty exciting. So on this note, I want to say goodbye to everyone and thanks for joining, and let me know if you have any feedback or any subject which you want me to cover next, because if no subject, then we'll continue writing pricing module for Terraform, which I think is amazing. Well, at least when it will be finished, it will be as amazing as this thing. Okay, bye.